Peace and love, beautiful people. It's your girl, Karina. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so um, I told you guys I would be doing synastry reading stuff. Synastry in astrology is when you take two birth charts, yours and someone else's, and you compare them and you see the compatibility based off of love and communication and lessons that you're going to learn amongst each other. What's the sexual compatibility? There's so many things that you can learn with synastry in astrology. And so yeah, I'll be doing more synastry videos, and I came today with you guys talking about Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey. So, Lori Harvey's birth time is still unknown. Michael B. Jordan has a birth time on the internet, so it's just important to keep in mind that, my source is the internet when it comes to their birth information. So, it may not be accurate, but we're gonna go with it, okay? Now, when you're doing a synastry chart, you do need the birth times for both people to really get the full synastry. However, because Michael B. Jordan has a birth time, I can put Lori Harvey's planets over his birth chart and get an idea of the energy still. Okay, so it's still possible to be done. So this is them, you guys. Okay, you'll see that the outside red planets is Lori Harvey. The inside planets are Michael B. Jordan. Okay. So the first thing, because this is a love situation, we gotta go to Venus, okay? And you'll actually find, you guys, that Michael B. Jordan has Venus at 5 degrees Capricorn. Lori Harvey also has Venus at 4 degrees Capricorn. So both of their Venuses, right here, Venus, this sign right here, both of their Venuses are in the same zodiac sign, which is the sign of business, reputation, and prestigiousness. Okay. Venus and Capricorn types of people really need their relationships to understand that it's love, but it's also money, and it's also about reputation. And they take these things very seriously. Okay. Very often, you may certainly find Venus and Capricorn types, unless there's some sort of aspect of Venus that would make this, a little bit different. But you may tend to find that Venus and Capricorn people will marry somebody because of their career, reputation, their prestigiousness. So these two beings coming together, these two Venus and Capricorn types, yes, they may have romance together because their Venus is what we call conjunct. So they both have the same love style that works best for them, which is actually not so romantic in this placement, to be honest. Venus and Capricorn, they may cherish each other with and adorn each other with some fancy gifts. But they also might just sit and talk about their careers with each other, and like it will be so romantic for them to talk about what their next moves are in career. So these two could very much so possibly be together as a setup or a situation to help push them both out into their career, because they both value those things. Okay. But it's still also just their love languages are the same. And it really has to do with discovering themselves being in a highly esteemed position in life. Okay. Now, you'll see here that Michael B. Jordan is born with Venus conjunct Neptune. When we find people born with Venus and Neptune aspects, this becomes like putting love on a pedestal, and so he could very much so be the type that is really um, adoring her, really being fantasizing about her. I I have a video about male placements, and where certain male placements will tell you about, his dream girl. Okay. And where you find Neptune, Neptune is a significator of his dream girl or his dream woman. Okay. His fantasy girl, fantasy woman. So the fact that he has Neptune next to his Venus, and her Venus is here as well, she is embodying his fantasy woman. And what is Michael B. Jordan's fantasy woman? Somebody who is about her business, right? She doesn't get too caught up in her emotions, and she's she might even be a little cutthroat. She might even be a little, and she's very ambitious, and she might also just, tell it like it is, create the transaction, the business transaction before the lovemaking even begins. But I do see that he could be the one that actually has more of a tendency to be smitten with her because his Neptune is here. And Neptune usually puts love on a pedestal, and it can make you a little addicted to your partner. And you can see somebody with like rose-colored glasses when you have Neptune playing with Venus here. But because they're in a conjunction, it does also just emphasize his creativity, his artisticness, right? Now, her Venus lands in his fourth house, okay? You'll see here that her Venus lands in his fourth house. So she feels very comfortable to him, right? So he must have been around female maternal figures who too were about their business, who were very orderly, very structured. And so she has a very familiar energy to him, okay? She has Mercury here with Venus. So she's able to communicate to him in a way that is very comprehensive. Though I do feel like certain times things might not always be said that needs to be said because Mercury and Neptune are here. Stories may be drawn out, or stories between them might be fun. Like they might have some really good inner jokes and dialogue because her Mercury is here. With Neptune here, it could be like they can tell each other stories, that they can really vibe with each other. But there also might be some deception that might be happening because Mercury is someone who explains things, and Neptune is the one who kind of hides things. Okay, it's very possible that he might have like hidden intentions, right? He might have it's not always hidden affairs with the fourth house, but because Neptune is here next to Venus, it could slightly be hidden affairs in which maybe she's not the only one that he might be interested or dating. If it was Jupiter, I would definitely say that. With Neptune, it's hard to say. It could be extremely spiritual or extremely darker and addicting, and taking it to that other more delusional space. So there's a lot that is great about them. There's a lot that works very well in their charts. Now, let's look at their sexual compatibility. Okay, he has Mars in Aries, so he is very strong sexually, and the North Node is here. So actually, while he is very strong sexually, he's actually learning more about his sexuality in this lifetime because the North Node is next to his Mars. It's almost like he spent a lot of his South Node energy maybe developing, uh, you know, his partnerships, his understanding of other people, but maybe his sensuality, but just not enough of his sexual prowess. So in this life, he's really learning how to gain that sexual image and that sexual appetite, that sexual drive. It's very much so present for him. Now, she has Saturn here. She does not have Saturn conjunct this energy, but she does have Saturn here. So she gives him a lot of pressure, right, for his masculinity to show up, for him to like where Saturn is in Synastry, the Saturn weighs down the other person. So he might have a lot of lessons about his North Node. There could be a lot of lessons, like she could be the one that teaches him a lot of ways in which he can learn about himself through this relationship, but she could also hinder him from learning about himself in this relationship, depending on how well that Saturn is being used on her side of things, okay? Now let's look at their Liliths. He has a Lilith in Cancer, so he has a deep clingy ness to him that he really it's very dark. And he also has this way about women that is also very dark because Cancer, it rules over women. And his moon is next to Lilith. He has a very, very dark feminine nature. He's very emotional. He's very moody. He can feel like an outcast sometimes in his career because Lilith is in the 10th house. Okay, she doesn't have any planets in Cancer, but her Venus is in opposition to Lilith. So this could actually be useful for the relationship in which she isn't too intoxicating to him, but she is able to pull and challenge some of his darker sides. He appears to be a little bit more emotional and sensitive with his moon being in Cancer. Okay, now her moon is in Aries. All right, so her moon is in a square to Cancer. So they both have this energy of being initiative, right? So this idea of them being a couple and it coming out, very strong cardinal energy. They both have that, right? However, they both are going to challenge each other because she's a little bit more lethal with that moon in Aries, and Cancer is a lot more sensitive. If her moon was just 2 degrees behind, oh no, I'm sorry, y'all. Her moon is not in Aries, just her Saturn is in Aries. Her moon is in Pisces. Well, that makes things even better because now her moon is in a water sign with his moon. So sorry about that. So they both have water sign moons. Now this is a really deep well of sensitivity and nourishment and conditioning. They both have a comfortability to them, and um, they speak in a way in which they can nourish each other. They feel and nourish each other with both of them having water sign moon energy. So this is really good. This actually is fairly harmonious. His moon is an early degree moon. Hers a little bit later. She has a lot of wisdom, but yeah, they both are very flirty and very comfortable with each other because their moons are 5 houses from each other, right? They're both in trine, so they're both loving each other. Yeah, I could see that their private world is this beautiful, sappy, huggy, cozy, comfy, touchy, feely, role playing, lovely space that they hold for each other privately. So their image and their need is to be with Venus, very prestigious, but their emotional needs need to be met, and it looks like they both can give each other what they need emotionally. Now, she has a Lilith in Leo. So, this is a very prominent place for Lilith. A lot of people who are very well known have Lilith in Leo because Leo is pulling the energy. It's so vibrant. Now, Lilith is darker energy, right? It's not the sun like Leo is, but her Lilith is still pulling people, but in such a deep way. This is why I think a lot of people, including myself, are deeply attracted to her aura and her energy. She has an air of mystery about her fame that is very enticing. People can't figure out why they're so pulled by her. That's that Lilith and Leo. Okay, so yeah, they both have Liliths in placements that have to do with parenthood. I feel like their parents could have maybe set them up. This could be a deep need to connect families or to test out families. They both are going, if they were to be really serious and get into a deeper relationship where they start talking about children and building a home together and things like that, I think that they would love to build a home together, but they would have to deal with some parental issues because they both are going to have some issues with children and nurturing that they would have to deal with their Liliths being in Cancer and Leo, because both of these signs deal with parenthood in different ways. Um, Now, her North Node goes over his ascendant, so she pulls him out into the world. This could definitely be a move for him, in which she's just helping him to keep him popular, to keep him in the front and center in people's minds. But also, her North Node being on the first house and in Libra, she's learning how to be in a relationship. So her North Node is where his South Node energy is. So they're pulling away from each other in their directions. They have 2 different directions. His direction is more masculine, more independent. Hers is more partnership and more collaborative. So they could drain each other a little bit if they were too clingy to each other. But I don't think that that would be the case because their Venuses are in Capricorn. If they could respect that they both have different frequencies that they have to learn in this life, different destinies in this life, then the relationship could go very well. Okay, so this is just a little intro into looking at synastry. You guys tell me what you see as we're looking at this. And stay tuned because I have another video on Lori Harvey, a real cool one, looking at her Venus placement specifically and talking about her irresistibility in her Venus placement. It's going to be a real cool video. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love.